So good morning, and it is fantastic to be here in Tallinn. Thank you so much. And after 3 years, I think we all realize just the power of again getting together. Virtual is one thing, but true physical presence is something that's very special. I do want to thank our hosts and most importantly the government of Estonia. Arriving Sunday, my team and I have experienced a very, very warm welcome. President Karas, let me also thank you. Thank you for your leadership. Your trip to Kyiv in April further demonstrated Estonia's commitment to Ukraine and our NATO coalition. Thank you very much, sir. Appropriately, CyCon's theme this year is Keep Moving. Over the past 20 years, Estonia's digitization journey provides an exemplar of the importance of forward momentum. Estonia's unicorn billion-dollar tech startups and digital ID services set a high bar for the rest of the world to note and strive to achieve. Yet we also know that as fast as innovation has taken place, our adversaries have not been far behind. This clearly is our collective challenge. Keep moving gives us a mandate. There is no time to waste. The threat is real, persistent, and continually changing. I just wrapped up a 2-day Cyber Commanders Forum here in Tallinn, where 34 nations discussed the most important aspect of our cyber capabilities, our people. And what a timely discussion. All of us need to have the right workforce in place for the challenges ahead so that we can keep moving. Collectively, we have seen these challenges. Cyberspace has created a new strategic environment which cyber actors can increase their power, degrade the power of others, and gain strategic advantage. Our adversaries are targeting our economy, our critical infrastructure, and our electoral processes. In 2022, adversaries look for opportunities to steal defense secrets, intellectual property, and personally identifiable information, to conduct malicious cyber campaigns, to attempt to erode our military advantage, and leverage social media platforms to carry out influence operations. It's instructive, perhaps, to recall the journey that we've been on in cyberspace. 20 years ago, in the wake of 9/11, we didn't think much about a cyber threat. Back then, we were not as connected as we are now. We had flip phones and the most popular social media sites, MySpace and Classmates.com. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, none of these were in use at that time or even invented. But the times have changed. The global digital footprint has grown exponentially, not only due to advancements in technology, but also because of our increasing reliance on technology in our personal and professional lives. Never has this been more evident than over the past 2 years when the world was forced to adapt to a new disruptive force, COVID. Today, we're not just connected to our phones and social media, but our lives are increasingly driven by technology. Classes are online, as are conferences, doctor's appointments, and banking. Each one of these services, while convenient, presents a potential vulnerability that adversaries can exploit. 2021 was a pivotal year for the United States in cyberspace. We began the year with SolarWinds, followed quickly by Microsoft Hafnium. By the spring, the ransomware attack against Colonial Pipeline threatened the fuel supply on the East Coast. We then experienced attacks against JBS and Kaseya before the challenge of Log4j vulnerabilities closed out the year. Quite simply, the scope, scale, and sophistication of these events were unlike we had ever experienced before. This wasn't a result of phishing or an exploitation of poor passwords. These were ransomware attacks, 0 days, and our adversaries embedding themselves in our supply chain. The Colonial Pipeline attack in particular gave us a glimpse of how adversaries can cause physical damage while operating in the virtual world and brought to light the real potential of this threat. Today, I offer cybersecurity is national security, and the events of 2021 certainly underscore this. As U.S. Cyber Command and the National Security Agency, we remain engaged, relevant, and focused on cybersecurity. Let's baseline the missions and actions of both the command and the agency. At U.S. Cyber Command, 3 missions. First of all, defend the DoD, Department of Defense Information Network, 15,000 classified and unclassified networks, the .mil, protecting our weapon systems, our data, and our networks. 4 million endpoints, 3.5 million users, 600,000 mobile subscribers. It's also defending the nation from cyber attack, working with the Department of Homeland Security and the Federal Bureau of Investigation in a cooperation that ensures our nation is secure in cyberspace. And finally, support to the Joint Force. Support to our combatant commanders like U.S. European Command with offensive and defensive cyber operations and information operations. At the national security, 2 missions. First of all, signals intelligence. We develop deep insights on our adversaries to provide the nation information advantage in competition, crisis, or conflict. And cybersecurity. We prevent and eradicate cyber threats to U.S. national security systems and critical infrastructure, focused initially and most importantly on the defense industrial base and the improvement of our weapons security. So what have we done? Well, I begin with persistent engagement. 2018, a watershed year for U.S. Cyber Command, as we introduced and executed persistent engagement. This concept, nested within the Department of Defense's Defend Forward strategy, reoriented the approach to cyber defense. We would actively engage adversaries outside of our nation's borders before they could do us harm. Under persistent engagement, we both enable and act. Enable our partners with information and act when authorized against our adversaries. With this change in our approach, U.S. Cyber Command became engaged with adversaries on a daily basis in cyberspace. One methodology we employ is hunt forward operations. We deploy defensive cyber teams around the world to hunt for adversaries' activity before it reaches the United States, an important aspect of international collaboration and partnership. Over 27 deployments to 16 nations and 50 different disparate networks, all in the course of 4 years. Here, insight is immediate and shared with our partner nations. Collectively, we are both defended against the adversary's latest techniques and tactics. We stop adversary malware at their initial point of use. Importantly, this is where public-private partnerships come in, sharing the latest indicators of compromise at the unclassified level, allowing a consortium of cybersecurity providers to develop signatures and inoculate all of us to the malware. Secondly, it's really been building strong partnerships. In a series of operations over the past 5 years, U.S. Cyber Command and the National Security Agency have developed strong partnerships with interagency, intelligence community, international partners, industry, and academia, all built on outcomes against a variety of threats to our nation. The strongest partnership begins with U.S. Cyber Command and the National Security Agency. Operating together with unique authorities, capabilities, and talents, we have demonstrated speed, agility, and unity of effort. The list of operations that built strong partnerships includes Joint Task Force Ares, and the focus on violent extremist organizations like ISIS. The Russia Small Group, our successful actions in 2018 to ensure a safe and secure election. The Election Security Group, the defense of the 2020 elections as part of a whole-of-government effort to counter foreign influence in the presidential election. And ransomware, a surge of U.S. Cyber Command and National Security Agency capabilities to address malware and tradecraft designed to hold critical infrastructure, businesses, and public services hostage to cyber criminals. And certainly, Russia-Ukraine. The continued work to remain vigilant against Russian cyber operations, the support to provide U.S. European Command, and the assistance to allies and partners within the cyber domain. It's also, though, operating transparently and sharing awareness. To operate with a broader range of partners, both U.S. Cyber Command and the National Security Agency realized we needed to move from a near total reliance on classified information to venues where information could be shared readily, rapidly, and in an unclassified medium. The resulting work has reshaped our command and agency. In 2018, in partnership with the Maryland Innovation and Security Institute, U.S. Cyber Command stood up Dreamport, an unclassified facility where we can work with partners across academia, industry, and the broader U.S. government to innovate on tough cyber problems and improve our collective defense. This venue has enabled industry to focus on our priority challenges, ensured rapid sharing of threats and indicators of malicious cyber activity, and educated a broad segment of high school, college, and graduate students on U.S. Cyber Command's roles and responsibilities with an eye to develop the next generation of cyber talent. In 2019, the National Security Agency established a cybersecurity director to both prevent and eradicate threats with a focus on our national security systems and the defense industrial base. 1 year later, we cut the ribbon on a cybersecurity collaboration center that operates with a broad swath of industry partners at the unclassified level. The power of operating at an unclassified medium has resulted in the public release of 61 cybersecurity advisories, 12 alone in 2022, that have identified unique malware, tips to secure telework networks, prioritized network security information to assist security administrators, and protection against Russian attacks on satellite networks. As we think about shared awareness, in the midst of the recent Russia-Ukraine crisis and the subsequent unlawful and brutal invasion, we have also demonstrated the power of sharing information and awareness. This information has proven to be accurate, timely, and actionable, resulting in powerful outcomes. Outcomes that include building a coalition of like-minded nations, exposing Russian malign activities and information operations, and key reads to partners that enable their security. As we think of CyCom's theme, keep moving, how do we apply this to what we've learned at U.S. Cyber Command and the National Security Agency? First, we consider our operations on a continuum of action. In both our strategic environment and in cyberspace, we find ourselves somewhere in competition, crisis, or conflict. It is no longer the binary approach of simple peace or war. Rather, our goal is to stay in competition, but we must be prepared to transition rapidly to either crisis or conflict. Importantly, we develop our operations ready-made for competition with a strong focus on indicators that may require us to prepare for a crisis or even a conflict. Second, we seek agility in what we do. The world in which we live today requires us to address a multitude of threats. We will remain relevant only as long as we continue to operate globally and bring our elements of national power more quickly to bear than our adversaries. Today's environment is different from the one we faced in the post-9/11 days and requires a level of vigilance and preparation against nation-state and transboundary threats. How do we achieve agility? First, through partnerships. We seek partnerships that provide our command and agency a broader understanding of the environment, capabilities or capacities that empower our operations or position ourselves uniquely for the future. Second, through competitive advantage. These are qualities that separate us from our adversaries, whether this is our talent, our ability to make or break code, our planning capacity to synchronize operations, or our threat intelligence. Each provides a degree of agility that empowers our actions. And finally, technology. Establishing an enduring advantage will include our technological capabilities. Whether this is artificial intelligence, big data, cloud computing, or other areas of advancement, we are a command and agency built for technology, ready to leverage its power and apply it wisely to our operations. Finally, we've learned over the years that partnership, just as it improves our agility, is a fundamental requirement to our success. Neither U.S. Cyber Command nor the National Security Agency has all the authorities, capabilities, talent, or insights to operate apart and be successful in this domain. Rather, we understand that partnerships provide ourselves and our allies a powerful advantage. As we have seen so readily in the Russia-Ukraine crisis, democratic nations establish rich, robust partnerships, autocratic nations rely on clients. The difference is marked, recognizable, and an asset to ourselves and our allies and partners. So as we move forward today, as we keep moving, let me offer. We must all think differently about cyberspace and the strategic environment going forward. Cybersecurity is national security. CyCon has aptly highlighted keep moving as this year's theme. Perhaps most important is that we keep moving forward together. Our collective power is in our partnerships. We have demonstrated this clearly. When working together, we can address our most pressing challenges, our most significant threats. At U.S. Cyber Command and the National Security Agency, we look forward to keep moving, particularly in partnership with many of you. Thank you for your time and attention. Have a great conference.